Como é que é, pessoal? Bem-vindos novamente ao Undergrounds Voice ao vivo. Os meus convidados hoje são os Attic, que vieram a Portugal aqui tocar ao Vagos Metal Fest. Thank you so much for being here. Huge honor to receive you at Undergrounds Voice. Welcome to Portugal. You'll play here at Vagos Metal Fest. Any first impressions about the Portuguese crowd, about the fest, about the country?
Well, it's actually nice being invited, definitely, and we're very thankful to be here. It's a beautiful landscape, actually, and it's a very special place to do a festival like this.
Yeah.
And I think it must be like one of the biggest and best festivals in Portugal, as I heard. So
Definitely.
It's very cool to organize it here, and it seems to be successful. So it's very cool for the people, and as well we see tonight. But I think very cool for us playing here as well.
Well, when I was preparing this interview, I read somewhere that Attic is a heavy metal band with an extreme metal band lyrical concept and a black metal visual. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the lyrical concept is extreme metal. I don't know what you mean by that. It's yeah, a little old school, I guess.
Yeah.
And a lot of horror themes in it. But the rest is quite on point, I think. Yeah, we are totally a classic heavy metal band.
Yeah.
But yeah, here and there we have some riffs and some imagery that's really into black metal. Yeah.
Well, Sanctimonious was released last year. It's a great album.
Thank you.
Top of the albums. It's a really strong conceptual album. Can you talk a little bit about all these concepts?
To talk a little is hard for me. It was a shitload of work. Yeah, it almost took us 5 years. Doing a concept is always hard, but it's always it was a wish I had to do a lyrical concept.
Yeah.
And I always wanted a horror story that takes place in a convent, and yeah, it's hard to point out where the inspiration comes from, but I think it's imagination. The most stuff is imagination and things and images in my head that I really like and that fit to the music.
Yeah.
The guys wrote like a great riff and I got the image right in my head. So that's where the concept comes from.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not easy to create an album, but it's more difficult to create a story that becomes an album.
Right, and I also wanted little things here and there, historical things like The Hound of Heaven is actually a poem from 1893, I guess, from Francis Thompson, and it's a little homage to that, but it's too hard to explain now how I convoluted the intention of the actual poem. So.
Yeah, well, the feedback is being incredible. How are you guys feeling with so much good feedback worldwide?
Yeah, we're feeling quite good, of course, but there's a lot of feedback that we didn't expect at first. So, yeah, we also have many haters, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
The more haters you have, the more real fans you have.
That's true.
So we will always be called like King Diamond copycats or something because of the voice.
Yeah.
Obviously. But overall, the fans react great to the new material and to the new album. Yeah.
Well, and if the music is not enough, the cover is also really great. Tell us more about the story of the cover. It's related with the concept, of course.
Yeah, I invented a whole plan of the convent where the story takes place, and of course the cover has to show something that's in the convent that's really impressive to the viewer, and of course obviously it has to be the church in the middle of the convent. Yeah, and I had really specific wishes to our artist how he has to create it, and it took him a really long time, like 4 months or something, to get everything how I wanted it to be. It was really hard, but it's one of the greatest artists. He also did the cover artwork for The Invocation, our first album.
Yeah,
it's Markus Vesper from Germany. He's not famous enough, in my opinion. He's a really great guy, and he can do the stuff that's in your head. You know, you imagine the cover, and he can do it.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. And that's the
great cover. Yeah. Well, Metallica have Master of Puppets, Slayer have Raining Blood, Iron Maiden have the Number of the Beast. Do you think that Sanctimonious can be this album? You know, everyone knows the importance of these albums for these bands and for metal, for this era of metal.
Well, I think these albums, they all like were released within a time like where were they? I think they were released in the right time at the right place, you know, especially for the scene. So, of course, as a band, you always may try to make your next album the best one that you ever made. So a lot of bands fail these days, we know that. But for example, Morbid Angel a few years ago. But it's always the goal to make it better and better. And I think the only ones that can make these albums like this is the fans, like how much they like it. And if it's up to us, then I would say we want them to love the next album even more than that. But maybe Sanctimonious is an album which could take this place, because we have this whole concept and this whole story, and when you sit down and read the lyrics and watch the pictures and everything, it's not only something for the ear, it's something for the eye as well, and maybe for the fans something for the heart as well, for the future. I think it's a great candidate for that, but we try our best to make the next one even better. Then
it's hard to do something better. Do you feel the pressure of to do something better than that?
Not really, because
it's not easy test.
I always kept saying, I got the feeling that the second album will be the hardest one, because we had so much we were so fortunate. We had so much luck with the first one that we became newcomer of the year in the German Rock Hard. Was it German Rock Hard, right?
Yep.
German Rock Hard, and we had Demo of the Year, and then the Invocation was released, and the ladder was just like going like this, you know, and we were always like going up the stairs, and then it took us 5 years time, and the people were expecting a lot. So but what we then realized was, after we released it and we told the people like, okay, it took some time, but it was worth waiting, then they said like, okay, it was, as you said before, the resonance was awesome. So and even this, they excused even this 5-year break in between. So I think Sanctimonious was way more difficult than everything that will come next, because as I know of us, we are all trying, or not trying, we are all keeping a great level and always try to improve. So I think for me the pressure is not that much. Maybe the expectations are way higher. It's a good pressure anyway. Pressure. The pressure is a good one. And this pressure keeps you on writing good albums, I think.
That's true.
Right.
And you're already working on new stuff, right?
Yeah, we actually a lot of stuff that was already really good but didn't fit completely in the story of Sanctimonious was already like great candidates for the next album. That's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's not done yet and not close to be done, but we're actually in a good process, and we have a lot of riffs, a lot of material, and I think like it shouldn't take as much time as before to release something new. So there will be definitely coming something new.
Looking forward.
Thanks.
Before we finish,
I can.
Sure.
Some additional thoughts. The thing is, you cannot fulfill all expectations, and the thing is, our first album was like more focused on catchier songs, I think, and Sanctimonious is more complex, and the story is like all together. Of course, every song has to do with the next one, and so I think everyone that really loves concept albums and loves Sanctimonious, wants to have another full concept album from Attic. But if we do not, it's a bummer for them. So you cannot do it right. But I can definitely tell that the next Attic album won't be a full concept. Maybe parts have concepts, but not a full concept album. You cannot do it all the time. It has to be the right quality, because it takes so much time to do it right.
Well, before we finish, I have to say that when I was preparing this interview, I read a lot of interviews, saw a lot of videos, and you guys give a lot of importance to the press part. Do you think that it's also important to have this kind of relation with the press, with the fans?
Yeah, it's definitely a very important part, but the thing is we're not that big, like we're not a really big band right now, but it's always on a level where we cannot do every interview. It's too much time we need for our jobs and our private life, so we can't answer any interview. It's already too much for us. We try our very best, but yeah, there are lots of interviews that are not answered right now, and people are waiting like 2 years now, and we're not done yet. So we try our very best, but it's hard sometimes. But I hope that yeah, they understand what's the problem.
People these days are like sucking in information like all the time, and I do, you do, everyone actually does. So it's very important to keep the people up to date, and because they always want to know stuff, and so that's why we actually try to, because there are a lot of questions anyways, like that people have concerning the album, concerning what's next and everything. So as long as they give you the support and the feedback, I think it's always important to give them something back, not only in the music and in the show, as well, like in the interviews and stuff. And that's why we try to newly, like our guitar player who's sitting right next there. he's like most responsible for the Instagram, Facebook stuff and everything, because I think this is how the world rolls today, and that's why it's, I think, very important. That's why we said like it's a great opportunity as well to do the interview with you. Thanks, by the way, for that.
Thank you. Finally, thank you so much for being here. Huge honor to receive you here. Welcome to Portugal once again. Last words for the Portuguese fans and Underground's Voice viewers.
We're actually really looking forward to doing the first show tonight in Portugal ever. So we've never been here. We're really looking forward. And
if you see this, you missed the show.
maybe, or you just want to have some feedback after that. So yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us, Portugal, and thanks to the festival organizers. And we're looking forward for a good show. And yeah, that's all we can say about that, I think. Willst du noch was add? Nothing to add.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
And a lot of success with your magazine.
Thank you so much. Malta, ATIC na Underground's Voice. Nós voltamos em breve. Fiquem bem.